Hey everybody, coming at you from my gear room, and today we're going to talk about these two parangs. Alright, everybody has probably heard of Condor and probably heard of Schrade. So I've had this Condor for a couple of years, Condor Bushcraft Parang, and I just bought this Schrade Parang, and the difference between the two is incredible. How similar they are, and yet they're different materials with a different grind and a much different price. So I'm going to look at these. I'm going to look at the sheaths. I'm going to give my opinions on the sheaths and what can be done to them to make them better. And then we're going to take these out in the woods and we're going to compare them head to head. And normally I don't do videos like this. You know, I did a few in the past and they were kind of popular and I didn't think I were going to do any more. But with these, what prompted this is the fact that this price is very little, but pretty much right now this is $70 and right now this is $35. So at half price, it made me wonder, you know, is this worth that much more? Could they charge more for this? Is there that big of a difference? Is there any difference? So let's get down to the details on these and discuss them, talk about the sheaths, then we're going to go out in the field and chop some stuff with these. And I'm going to show a few tips and tricks concerning the chopping and use of these. So let's take a closer look now. As you can see, they're very similar. The main difference is the material and the grind. This is a convex grind and this is a concave grind, or what's also known as a hollow grind. This is 1075 carbon steel. This is 3CR13. Pretty sure that's what it is. Let me double check. Yeah, it's on the packaging. 3CR13. Alright, just wanted to make sure of that because I have another machete that's 7CR13. Now the actual cutting length from here to here is 13 1/4 inch, and then the cutting length on this is 13 1/2 inch. Very similar. Let's go from the very end of that to the tip of this. It's 19 3/4, and then let's go from here to here. 19 3/4. I can't believe that. That is so similar. The belly of it is just a touch under 2 1/2, like 2 7/16, and that is 2 7/16. I cannot believe this. Is this a coincidence, or did somebody copy somebody? I don't know. This is a hard plastic green handle. This is sort of a little bit softer. It's like a rubbery type handle. It's not that soft, but it is a rubber type handle. They both have lanyard holes. This has the shape in the front and the back so that it won't slide out of your hand and it won't slide forward. This one, it won't slide out of your hand, but there's a chance your hand could come forward because it doesn't have a guard contoured into it. Now let's look at the thickness of it real quick. The thickness of this one, see if I can get you on here, is 173.173. 3/16 is 0.187. So we're going to call that 1 3/16. This one is 150. Now 156 is 5/32. So we're going to call that 5/32. First, the carbon steel Condor Bushcraft Black. 1.68 ounces. Okay, 1.68 ounce. Now the Schrade stainless steel Parang, 1.5 ounce. Very close. Of course, this is only 5/32 thick, and this is 3/16 thick. So there's your weight difference right there. It's pretty much, and that's, yeah, there it is. 7 about 1.75 ounces, a little heavier. Yeah, that's a consistently 1 pound 5 ounce. Right. Regardless of the shape of the handles, I always have a lanyard on my machetes. And depending on the size of your hand and the type of the handle, or where the lanyard hole is, length may vary. But usually what I do is I usually start with a piece of paracord that's 22 inch. And most lanyards that I have seen have been either 20, 22, or 24. So you can just cut a piece, you know, and try it. And all I do, just drop it through the hole. I always add a lanyard, and that's why I'm showing you this. And then you just take the two ends, hold them where they're even, and just make a simple knot in it. With paracord's pretty good about not slipping. And what I do is I grab them and hold them, and then I push the knot forward, just like that, and give it a tug. And then generally, you know, you burn the ends too, and generally that will hold. And the way you do it, let me turn the camera around here for a minute. Let me lift it up so I can see what I'm doing here. And generally the way you do this is the blade faces away from your hand, and you put your thumb in it just like that. See, the blade is facing away from me, and then you just pull your hand up, and there's your lanyard. Just like that. That right there, when you're chopping, see, that keeps it, that'll keep your hand from sliding forward. About as far as my hand will go, see, it's digging into me now. It's about as far as it'll go is right there where the blade starts here, the grind, I mean. It's but that right there, you can keep kind of a loose grip on it and chop on it all day. So, all right, for now, that's enough talk about the machetes. Let's talk about the sheath, and then we'll hit the field. This is the Condor sheath. It's a Cordura. I guess you call it a ballistic type Cordura, but it's sewn, and it's got all these rivets all over it right here. And then it's got two rivets on the end, so that if you want to, you can run paracord through it and wrap it around your leg. And then it's got a belt loop. I think a GI pistol belt will fit through here, I believe. It's big enough for that. It's big enough for any size belt. And the way the machete goes in is it just simply slides in. And what I do is a sheath like this, to keep from cutting into it, you want to push back against the spine. Hold this back, put pressure on it, and push back against and slide in. And then this thing, it just simply snaps right here like that. So, pretty simple sheath. Now, on this pouch, to me, I don't like the kind of pouch. I like a pouch on my machete, but I don't like this kind of pouch because it's got the button here. The kind that I like is like the way Tops does, because they have a buckle on here. So you get, not only do you get full use of the pouch here, you have the full length of it, but when you close this over it, you also have length above the pouch. So if something if something is sticking out here, then you've got full length of it and it's securing it, which isn't the case on this, because with this one, when you've got a snap like this and you snap it, you've only got use from here to here. So if you want to carry a multi-tool with your chopper, most general multi-tools are going to hang out, and you can't secure it. If it had a flap, that would be ideal. So you can't do that. Most small knives, even if you want to put a folding knife in there, you're not going to be able to snap it. So one of the things that you can do, if you want to do, if you want to go survival style, like with a survival kit, you might could have, like, say, a whistle and a very, very small light on a lanyard. And then what you could do is you could take it like this and figure out what length lanyard you want. I wear this as a necklace, but one thing you could do is you could take a little bitty tiny, this is a Gerber dime, you could take a little tiny multi-tool and make a loop, feed it up through there, just like that. drop it through. All right, then you've got your little multi-tool here attached with this. And also, when you drop this down in there, that'll allow you a way of pulling it out. So you drop it down in the bottom, and then you drop your light in there, and then you can snap it secure. I had the string on it. All right, you can snap it secure. Wait a minute. Here, don't make a liar out of me. All right, it ain't snapping. That's not a good snap. Okay, there it goes. Now, you got the snap there, and then you've got the whistle hanging out. So what you can do now is put your whistle on there and snap that. So what you've got now, and if you had to, you could take that and put it down inside there. But I don't think it's going to snap now. But anyway, there you go. You have this now, and it's secured by this. It ain't going anywhere. You could snap that and have this just dangling out. So what you can do now is when you need access to it, you just pull it out of the bottom instead of having to dump it out. And you've got your light and your multi-tool and your whistle. But I don't do that. What I do is I like one of the greatest small knives made is the Mora Companion HD. That is a fantastic knife. And so people that know me know that I like to attach knives to my machetes. And Moras they're great knives. So this little pouch with no flap is absolutely perfect for the way the Mora is made, because you'll slide it over it just like that. Okay, and that'll pretty much hold it. It flops around some, so you could wrap paracord around it and make that part of your kit. But what I do is I just take a piece of webbing and figure out what length it needs to be, and you can just slide it right on over there, just like that, and it helps secure it. Now, you may be like, oh, this is going to fall down. Well, these ribs here, and the Cordura on Cordura, the webbing, it doesn't slide down. So that's an awesome kit right there for that sheath. Now let's move on to the Schrade sheath and talk about it for a minute. Now the Schrade sheath doesn't come with a pocket, but we're going to take care of that here in a minute, or I'm going to explain to you how I will. This one it comes with a few more options. It comes with this padded webbing that goes through the belt loop here, and it's even got Velcro built inside it right here, so that if you want to, you can carry this thing slung over your shoulder if you want to, which I guess I could see in some cases that might be kind of handy, you know. Sometimes a lot of people don't like stuff kind of flopping around, but then again, people don't like these flopping around on their leg whenever they're hiking, and that's when these leg straps come in handy. But you can pull this loose right here and just do away with this if you don't want to use it, and it just unsnaps like that. And see, it's a piece of Velcro. It's just a little something extra that Schrade's added for you, and it's an adjustable strap. So anyway, that's an option. And it comes with this thing, which it's a Fastex. They got webbing right here with a Fastex buckle. That way you can wrap that around your leg to keep it from flopping while you're hiking. It has a very extremely large belt loop, plenty big enough for the GI pistol belt. Now with this one, you don't slide it in. You pull these two back, and it's partially open from here to here, where that rivet is. And this thing, it looks like it's sewn and riveted. And the inside of it seems to be a real kind of a hard plastic. That's the way the Condor one is too. It's got a pretty hard plastic in there. But if you still have to be careful when you put these things in. But what you do is you just put it in there and slide it in. And if you want to, try to hold on to the back of it and knot this in case you cut through the sheath. But I've never cut through one before. So this thing, you secure the sheath like this and this with these two buttons here, snaps, and then it's got one right here that you snap. Now, one of my requirements is, like I say, I always put a lanyard on my machetes, unless it's got something that's like, say, something like this cold steel. It's got such a massive place here that you don't have to have a lanyard here, and I didn't. On this one I put lizard skins, and that is the most comfortable. Lizard skins are the most comfortable grip there is. So anyway, now back to this. I don't like to have this thing, I don't like to have this lanyard laying around free. I like to be able to clip it to something. So there's another requirement of mine. When I'm hiking, I like to be able to attach that just like this. All right. Now, let's talk about something else here. People that know me know that I love attaching knives to my machetes, because it's like having a kit with you at all times, because almost like a toolkit, because this is your chopper, this is your slicer, okay? Slicing and sizing, chopping and batoning, complete kit. Now, these are both Cordura, and I attached this to this machete sheath 9 years ago. I attached it down here, and the fact that it's a sticky back Velcro, you can always remove it later if you want to. But I attached it here and here, and that was 9 years ago, and this thing never came off. So let me show you something here real quick. You have just a plain Jane common Velcro, okay? Just normal stuff. I don't use that. For a little while, I tried this stuff. It's called Sticky Back for Fabrics. Adhesive is fancy talk. They cut to the chase and call it Sticky Back. But anyway, this Velcro stuff, this is for fabrics. You think it would do good on Velcro, but there's one that does better. They actually make an industrial strength Velcro. And like I say, what it is, and I like the 2-inch wide, because that way you can cut it to whatever you want. But these things here, they're sticky back, and they're 2 inches wide, and you just stick it to the stuff. So anyway, just remember that for whenever you do it. But what I'm going to do here is, since I have my chopper, I decided, what the heck, I'm going to go ahead and go with Schrade for this one. So I bought a Schrade. I think this is a 56L. Yeah, SCHF 56L. Usually I put Moras on almost everything, but I don't know. I just kind of wanted to go with Schrade for this whole outfit right here, because I saw this knife, and see how thick this knife is? That is a beast of a knife. That's like 1/4 inch thick. Let me grab my mic and I'll mic it real quick. 250 is a 1/4 inch, and I think 218 is 7/32. So 200 is very, very thick for a knife. So we're going to see how that thing works. This is a hollow grind too. Probably most hollow grind knives are not very good for carving or whittling, but you can lay this bevel back more during sharpening and make it work better. I tried carving with this straight out of the box, and as far as just cutting, this thing does a good job on cutting, but it does a terrible job on whittling right out of the box. You gotta do a little work to it. Anyway, it comes with a Cordura sheath with a plastic liner. It's got this thing, and then it's got a ferro rod. Now, my advice is, whenever you have these ferro rods attached to sheaths of any kind, whether it's a knife or a machete, don't ever use these, ever, ever, ever. Carry your user, when you're camping, carry your ferro rods in your pocket, in your backpack, or around your neck on a lanyard. These, don't use them. Leave the hard black coating on to protect them, or you can coat them in fingernail polish, but don't use these. Keep these as a survival item. Okay, now with this, what you can do, you got plenty of real estate here right above where this is, and so what I'm going to do is I'll cover the whole back of this thing with the sticky back Velcro, and then I'll stick it to it. Now, I could make a piece of webbing like this to go around it, or I could do like You can cover it with paracord like I did this one. Wrap it around to help secure it. Or with this is kind of neat. What you could do is since this thing's adjustable, you could just tighten this thing up. Once you've got the Velcro on, so you could just tighten that up and it'll hold it on. See? Isn't that neat? I'm going to attach this later on, but for now what we're going to do is we're just going to take these things out. We're going to try them. I'm just going to leave my mower on there because that always stays on there. They make Condor makes a small knife called a pterosaur that's very similar to the Mora. And as a matter of fact, they make one with a green handle that, you know, if you wanted to, you could get one of them and mount it on here, and it would be a Condor match. But I don't have one, so I got a Mora right here that I use because I love Moras. And then I'm going to go Schrade on that bad boy. Alright, enough talking. Let's go out in the woods and chop some stuff with these things. One other thing I wanted to show before we leave is I wanted to show this other Schrade. This is the Schrade Kukri. You may have seen it before. This is the one that when I first got it, I hated it, absolutely hated it. But then I reground it and reprofiled it, and I started loving it after that. And I wanted to like it because the handle's so comfortable. But anyway, irregardless, this sheath is very similar to the Parang we're looking at, as in it's open here with this thing. But they have magically added a pouch on here, which I think is absolutely wonderful. Now, what they did is there's a Velcro strap. Check this out. They put Velcro on it here, and then they've got this webbing going through this Velcro on the back here. So why can't Schrade do that to the Parang? I mean, I think that would be great, because this cost about the same. This was $34 at the time. It was $1 cheaper than the Parang. There's probably less metal in it, but the thing is you could always make something like this to go on the Parang just by attaching that Velcro right there. So let's have a look at that. Isn't that neat? That pouch will just go right on there, and then you just Velcro that on. Isn't that neat? You could even take that off and add a knife to the Velcro that's on there. But that's just something else I wanted to show that Schrade does do on a different Machete. Now, most hikers, or at least the way I think, is if you go out for a hike, you always want to be prepared for, you know, you don't want a survival situation to happen. You want to always be prepared with some kind of shelter of some kind. So what this is a butt pack, and any kind of fanny pack or a butt pack that has a substantial size belt is good for wearing your Machete on there. With this one, I got a small kit in there and an emergency shelter. So even for a hike, me being as prepared as I like to be, I don't like to go out with nothing. I like to be prepared, and the weight of that, what little bit that weighs, justifies carrying it. And the belt is right up here, and down below here is my other belt that holds my pants up. If you put a Machete on that belt, you're also limited by the belt loops. You can only move the Machete from here to here. But when you got it up here, the Machete is going to ride up higher, and it won't be flopping as much. So let's see if we can put this on. I think this is a 2-inch Fastex buckle. So let's see if this Machete will fit through it. Yeah. That's one of the recommendations. I mean, that's one of my requirements. So let's pull this. Alright, so with this, it doesn't flop around quite as much. It doesn't bother me as bad. And so you can move it around. Like you move it around to the side right there whenever you're hiking. And it tends to not bother you. Now another thing, due to fleas, ticks, and especially mosquitoes, and poison ivy, I like to wear these Nomex flight gloves. They're great in the summer. You can wear them in the winter if you want to, because they're good for tending to campfires, because they have flame resistant qualities. But I like to wear these whenever there's ticks and mosquitoes and flying critters around. Now, I like to see what all I can do with gloves on. This C-spot run, you open it up, give it a squeeze, and put pressure that way so that the spine is dragging on the sheath, not this. So, there you go. Now that was relatively easy to get out. Now what we're going to do, how well does it go back in? Remember, putting pressure, pushing that way against that. And that was very easy to put back in. Alright, now let's see how the other one fares. The other one is going to be a little bit more complicated. Now that thing barely fits in there. Let's see how the other one works, the Schrade. Let's see. Now that's got a much larger loop in it. That thing just falls right through. Alright. It slides around just like the other. Now that thing, there's something about where this sets. The Condor was rubbing my elbow. I pushed it back as far as I could against the butt pack, and it was rubbing my elbow. And there's something about this design or this handle that I moved it back, and I don't even feel it rubbing my elbow. And I think what that is, that is a bonus to me. I think what that is because the handle's only sticking up about 1 inch above the belt loop, and this thing's sticking way up above the belt loop. And I don't like that. And if you fall down, that thing will stab you in the kidneys. So, now this is going to be, let's see, you open that up, pull those two open, then that comes out that way. Alright, let's see if that lanyard's right. Put it on there, and come up. There you go. Alright. So, let's see how it is going back in. Going to the side. Now you want to hold these back so you don't cut into them. Clip. And clip. And clip. They're both relatively easy. That one's a lot faster. The Condor's a lot faster because you just kind of slide it in. But if you're not careful, you could cut this. But it is a lot faster. I don't like how this sticks up. This one's a little more complicated with these 3 things you have to undo rather than one. It's on the sheath grid. Now, in general, let's chop with it without gloves and see how it feels. How about that? We got plenty of down trees here. I've chopped with this one. I've chopped with this one for years, so I know how this does on green stuff. And I chopped out in the yard with a recently fallen branch. But we're going to do the hard, dry stuff and see how that stuff works. All right? Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, let's go. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to, in general, with no gloves on, I want to see how much of a vibration. There's 2 things I'm trying to feel here. Well, maybe 3 things. One is I want to try to concentrate and feel how much of a vibration goes up through the handle. And then the other thing is I want to see if this sticks in the wood. And then the third thing is I want to see if this makes chips explode. Because you're not just chopping straight down, you're removing chips. Okay? So let's start with this one first. Take a few chops. Turn it around backwards. Grab it on your thumb. Alright, then you're good to go. Alright, now you can see the number of chops, and you can see the chips that I've removed. Now, I didn't feel a whole lot of vibration in this. There might have been some vibration, but not a whole lot. But if you'll notice, it did not stick. Every chop, this thing came back out with ease. Now, here's the thing. Hollow grinds will bite deeper, but they tend to stick in the wood. So let's see how well this does. Hey, you didn't count the chops, did you, Nick?
No.
Okay. Now see, first bite, stuck. See right there? It's sticking.
Stuck on 8.
Yeah. Now see that thing, once I started getting in here and opening it up, it was, that thing was, it didn't stick quite as bad. Now I know the Condor is not chipped or dinged, but this is brand new. I've never used it. There's no chips or dings here, no rolled edges, nothing. I might have felt a tiny bit more vibration in this one. Now what I may do is, let's try it with gloves. And then I got one other thing I'm going to do. I think what we're going to do too is we're going to, it won't be bouncing as bad down here. Let's count the number of chops.
Last was 15 there.
Okay. You didn't count the other one, did you?
No.
Alright, let's go 10 chops with gloves on. How about that? We're going to see if these cushion anymore.
Also noticed that the second machete there was actually throwing chunks.
This was throwing chunks out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it cut as deep.
I don't know.
It may have, I'm not.
That's the thing, is you want chips exploding coming out of it. Alright, you want to go for 6? Let's go for 6. Alright, now some of that might have been, to be fair, we'll remove all the loose stuff. Alright, that was 6 chops with the Condor. With gloves on, I didn't feel hardly any vibrations. Alright, now let's go with 6 chops of this. You ready? Remove all the loose stuff. Now, it wasn't as wide.
One of those chops went deeper.
Yeah.
Considerably deeper than the other. I doubt you. I can't even see it here.
If I would have chopped, if I would have swung a little wider, they probably would have been about the same because they're about the same depth. Because you know, you can make it, once you've got this loosened, you can make it as wide as you want by doing that. See, once you got in there, I would say the chopping is pretty much the same, except for the fact that that one kind of sticks. Now, like I say, that's 1075 carbon with a convex grind, and this is 3 CR13 with a hollow grind. That's pretty good. As far as batoning, I'm not going to baton anything, because batoning anything sharp or anything even dull can split, you know. So there's one other thing I want to do, and that's I want to see what this thing will do with, if it's possible. I don't know if it's possible, because you gotta, when you're chopping, you have to chop from side to side to remove chips. But what I want to do is I want to see what height these two machetes, how deep they'll sink with a certain height.
Okay. You always do a durability test on that rock back there.
On a rock? No, I ain't doing that. I'll leave that up to them other people. How about... go right here. Alright, now I don't know if this is going to do anything or not, but what I'm going to do... Okay, see my finger? That's all the power I'm going to get in there. Now most of the time, whenever you're using your arm, you'll get wore out. You want to kind of use your wrist if you're chopping all day. So, let's try this. Alright. Now, let's see if we can do that with this one. Look at that. You got, check
well, there
this
it
out. Now this is very, very telling. You got a convex grind right here, and then you've got a hollow grind right here. And I want you to look at the depth of these two. They're identical. I'm going to do that one more time, and then I want you to come down here close with the camera.
I'm zoomed in right on it.
Okay. Well, we're going to get you at a lower level. Okay. Let's do this one more time. Okay. Now, you seeing this good? I got my thumb up here. You ready?
Yep.
It's only about a foot. Nah, that wasn't no good because it was too far away. Alright, that was good. Right there. I want it to be about 1 inch. We're going to have to go by this side because that fell off. Alright, now let's do this again. Let's do this right here just like this. Look at that. Alright, let's get that camera down here. Y'all remember now the Schrade is on this side and the Condor is on this side. Same here, Schrade Condor. Let's move that camera down a little bit, Nick. And Nick's trying to get a really good close-up of this. But this is the Schrade and this is the Condor. This is the height limited chop test. This is all I could do in 1 foot. And these are identical. I tried to do it again and I misswung on this one over here and removed that a little bit, so you just kind of discount that. But, you know, one chop from one direction, one chop from another direction. There's the Schrade, there's the Condor. And I'm having trouble feeling the vibration coming up through the blade. There's a tiny possibility that the Schrade might vibrate a little more, but it's so small I can't tell, but this is interesting. So, I think the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a standing swing where I'm holding a piece of wood and chopping. I've got this branch right here, and I don't know if it was dead or not, but I'm going to just see how this thing does. We're going to see how these do with the small branches here. I think that might have just broke it off. It does okay, I guess. Try this one. Had to kind of beat on that a little bit. Let's just try this right here now. See how we can do it right here at an angle. It didn't cut it cleanly off. It almost did. Let's try that again. Ah, now that did. Now that might have been because I was a little bit shorter here. Let's try. It didn't stick in it. Let's try.
Tree fell apart there.
What?
Tree fell apart.
Yeah, it did. Alright, let's try this right here now. Pretty much.
It's splintered.
Yeah. Now that's wanting to roll in my hand. When I hit, every hit, this thing is wanting to roll in my hand.
Was that causing it to make longer cuts like that?
Well, it must be because of the convex grind. Let me see about that.
Because the other one was definitely not leaving long cuts like that.
No. I say I've never noticed that before, but that may be where this is too advanced.
Hold that up to the camera. It's not really visible over there.
All right,
Yeah, it's good long cuts.
try it again. No, it ain't. Nah, maybe because it's getting so much stouter. That's not a good test. Nah, that ain't a good test. And that's hurting my hand doing that. These things ain't good for that. Because normally what I do, whenever I have to cut up a bunch of small things like that, normally what I will do is I'll do it like this. And that's cutting clear through. Now if you cut on a rotten log, that's a great way of protecting your blade. Like if you're going to cut a bunch of small twigs for your wood stove, just like that. They felt the same on that. That test where I was holding it up and swinging was horrible because both machetes kind of felt like they were rolling. This one worse. The convex grind felt much worse. But I mean, it's not really good to be doing that. Let's chop just a little bit more with it on a log, a little bit more substantial, because the big log I was chopping on was bouncing. Let's do a little bit more, and then we're going to go over to the creek and try the wet. Cut some of these little limbs here off this log. Pretty easy. Turn over this log. No problem. Let's try this one. Schrade. No problem. No problem. No problem. No problem. Let's try now. Oh, Nick, that's developing fat wood. Can you zoom in on this color?
Oh, I can see it right here. Oh, you can see it on here, I think.
I smelt it. The second I chopped it off, I smelt it. It released the smell.
How about
Super
that?
strong smell it, Nick.
I love that smell. I'm just going to keep this.
Alright. That could be carved into a good fire starter. Oh, speaking of carving, let's go up here a minute and see how these things do on these dead trees. Now this tree's got bark on it, but the top's broken off and it's dead. Now I've seen the work of a pileated woodpecker before, but I've never seen anything like this that has got these little bitty lines in it like that. Can you see the little square lines zoomed in?
A little blurry. Yeah.
That's bizarre. Alright, back up a little bit and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here now. Now, when everything is wet and everything on the ground is wet and you're wanting to shave off some tinder, what you can do is stand over a tree like this right here, and if you've got a brimmed hat, it can shade the area that you're carving on so that you can get some shavings. So you put your hand around here. Now this is a dead standing tree. See the top of it up there? And it's got cracks all in it where it's dry. So what we want to do is, if we're in the situation to where you need to shave, I could modify both of these to where they'll shave curls, but I want to see what the concave does compared to the hollow. I mean the convex.
Seems very hard and very poor. Well,
yeah, it ain't easy, but that is not easy, but I got a few there. And then I've got, I will tell you this, curls are ideal. If you cut up a mountain of those, You could strike them with a ferro rod, or if you got a lighter. So, the Condor convex grind did okay on that. So let's see what the Schrade hollow grind does. It may skitter straight across it. Cutting the bark off. Nope.
It's actually worse.
It's horrible. And see, if you lean it this way enough, it'll skitter across the top. But if you lean it forward until it starts cutting, it just digs in. So, nah, you can't do that. Okay, well that's the first time. That's the first time I've seen a significant difference in the two. Now, like I say, I could modify that to where it will carve a little 2-inch section, but I'm talking about factory grind, just as you get them. So, yeah, that'll make curls. That won't. All right, let's go to the wet handle test. That's going to be interesting, ain't it?
Yep, this will be completely safe.
Yeah, all right. So we're over here where the creek is, and as far as I know, this is a test that nobody else has ever done, but it's for the...
For obvious reasons.
Yeah, well, I guess. It's for the how slippery is this handle? Because like I said, this is kind of a hard plastic, and the other one is kind of like a medium hard rubber. So what we're going to do, I'm going to get a handful of water and I'm going to dip the handle in there and get it wet. Now I can see a lot of the water's running off of it. Get me a handful. Now I'm going to grip it just like that. And I'm going to see how it feels. Now, regardless of what it does to the log, no slipperiness, no discomfort. I didn't feel anything moving around. That was perfect, which surprised me. I figured a hard plastic would move around. So, interesting.
That's good.
Yeah. Now, so let's try this one.
It's good to know if you're caught in a rain shower and so we need to.
Or if it's in the rain and you're trying to build
wood.
a shelter or you got to get a fire going.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Caught in the rain.
Your kayak turns over. So let's dip this in the water and get it good and wet. Now the water is beating off of this just as fast as that one. Not any slower, not any faster. This has a little bit more of a textured grip. Let's grab this. Alright. And it's still wet, and my hand is still wet. Now this might have moved around a little more, maybe. I'm not going to say it's a negligible difference. So, I guess, in conclusion...
They're both probably fine.
Yeah. They're both probably fine. Now, if you just want to buy one and use it straight off the rack, the only difference in this, the only minor difference, is this will carve right here. But I'm hoping most bushcrafters, campers, and survivalists are going to know how to modify their edges. But, so, that's one difference. If you want to buy it right off the shelf, this may have one advantage. I mean, you can look at them, they're almost identical. I mean, for real, look at that.
Alright, who copied who?
That I don't know. So I guess the main difference is, do you want to pay $70 or do you want to pay $35? This is half the price of this. So, or you could say, do you want carbon steel or do you want stainless steel? Are you a Condor person or are you a Schrade person? This is made in El Salvador and this is made in China. So, choice is yours, but like I said, I was kind of hoping there would be some sort of a glaring difference, but there's not. It's, I mean, they're very, very, very similar. Did you make any observations, Nick, from watching all this?
The Schrade might have occasionally made a deeper cut, but I would say the test with the curls is probably what you definitely need to look at between these two.
Yeah, if you're not going to reprofile the blades. But I did a video a while back about
You just said it was what, twice the price, but
twice, $70 and $35.
that'd be a hard decision.
It's
More expensive, but it can do curls and the other can't.
Yeah. Well,
So
then again, if you want to look at it this way,
It's a hard decision.
this was 70 by itself. And earlier in the video, when I was in the gear room, I showed the smaller knife, the Schrade 56L. You could use that for the curls. So it was 32. So let's see, 65, 66. So for $67, you could get the Machete plus the knife. Or for $3 more, you could get just the Machete. So it's up to you. Now, as far as the longevity, time will tell. So, all right. I hope you had fun. Hope you. This wasn't really meant to bash or promote either of those because I paid out of pocket for both of them. Nobody gave them to me. I was just kind of wanting to have fun with them because when I noticed how much they looked alike, I was totally blown away. So, but anyway, y'all take this information. Now, real parangs are very, very expensive. Thanks to Ray Mears making them popular, the real deal ones from overseas, like Malaysia or wherever they come from, they're ridiculously high. So for your average hiker, camper, these are good options. So anything you want to add, Nick?
I just leave it up to a personal preference as to which one to choose. It's hard to tell between them.
It kind of is. I mean, I was hoping that there'd be a stark winner, but there's
Like
not.
I said, I'm just looking at the one's more expensive, but it does curls.
Yeah, it does.
That's all I'm looking at, so it just makes it hard to tell.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, you probably don't want to be caught without being able to make curls.
Oh, no. But you could attach a knife to one of them. Or wear a neck knife. Either way.
It's too hard to tell for me.
And definitely, if you live near the ocean, or salt water, or swamps, I would like the stainless steel one. If you're going to keep it old, no problem with carbon steel. So, alright. Hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Buy a parang, get out, chop some stuff, camp, hike, enjoy life, and we shall see you in the next one.
See you later.